All right, so if you are a info business coach or info business owner, then you definitely know the power of Instagram story sequences. Instagram story sequences have definitely been one of the biggest converting tools that you can use. And the best part about it is that it's completely free. But honestly, not a lot of info business owners know how to use the Instagram story sequences effectively. And so within this video, I'll show you the 5 elements that you need to go ahead and have a high converting Instagram story sequence. So when looking at the 5 elements, it's actually really 4 elements. The 4th and the 5th element, you can kind of flip-flop them, kind of pick either or. But basically, the basis of everything is you need a hook, you need some form of education, and then a case study, and lastly, you need your call to actions. So it's either a soft call to action or a hard call to action. And so with the combination of all of this, you should have a pretty good high converting Instagram story. And we've seen this done with a bunch of high level entrepreneurs. And I think a lot of people think Instagram story sequences are kind of saturated nowadays. But the thing is, not everybody is doing it right. So I'm going to show you guys a really good example of someone who is doing it correctly, and that's Iman Gadzhi. He recently just had his 5-day live event, and he was able to make like 8 figures from that. So I'll kind of break down how he was able to make that 8 figures, and then show you guys why it was so high converting. And so let's talk about the hook first, because obviously you need something to grab attention. You want to grab attention immediately and really call out a pain point, a desire, or a shocking truth. And you really want to use polarizing statements, client screenshots, or a relatable question within this hook. And what would that kind of look like? So for example, you can use something along the lines of 95% of new coaches never make it past 5K a month. Here's why. Or feeling stuck with content that's not bringing in leads. And then you give the answer on the next page or whatever. And that's the part where you can go ahead and educate. And lastly, the last example here is ChatGPT just released their biggest update. Here's what info owners should know. Basically, just striking up a topic that your audience might find interesting. And so let's go on to educate. Well, educate and story/case study, these can kind of be flip-flopped, I would say, just because they don't necessarily have to be in the same order, but a high converting story sequence still has both of these. So yeah, these can definitely be flip-flopped if you want. So you can either do educating first or a story or a case study first. It doesn't really matter. But talking about educate, right? This is really just to share valuable or myth-busting truth or a simple framework. And this positions you as the expert, and it really builds trust. So for example, most people think they need more followers. What they actually need is a clear offer and better positioning. Or quick wins. Here's a 3-step framework I use to cut my workday times in half using the time scrunch method. Basically, this is just educating your audience to let them know that you know something that they don't. And when you do that, you are creating that sense of authority where you are an expert in your space. And then that's how you get people to listen to you more, and they'll be more in tune with what you have to say. And so with story/case study, right, this is basically sharing your transformation or a client's before and after, or their transformation. And this is really to use real screenshots, video testimonials, or a story style voiceover. Maybe it was on a picture of your old self and how you were able to transform from that to what you are now, or a client on how they, had their business at whatever level they were at, and now they're soaring up new heights and things like that. So this is basically just showing proof. And so looking at the examples, this example is this client went from 1 call a week to 5 booked calls a day after we fixed their calendar funnel. Another example is I used to send 30 cold DMs a day with 0 traction. Now I get warm leads inbound through 1 simple shift. And basically this is just using a story or case study as an example to show proof that your systems actually work, or your offer actually works. And so after you go ahead and get through the 3 points here of hook, educate, and story, this is where you can do a call to action. And you can do either or, right? So with these, you can switch the order, but obviously you still want both of them. But with the call to actions here, you can do either or. Sometimes you can use both, but I would say either or is fine. And basically, the difference between a soft call to action and a hard call to action is the soft call to action is more indirect, and then the hard call to action is more direct. So for example, right, the soft call to action. You invite them to DM you, vote on a poll, or maybe answer a quiz. And this is really low friction, but it gets them to engage and really self-qualify. And so some examples of this might be like, hey, curious what this would look like for your offer? Vote. And then you could say like yes or no, whatever. Or example here, poll, are you selling a coaching offer? Yes / I want to, or no, I am not currently. And basically you're just getting a feel for what your audience is actually doing, or how you can basically help them. You can kind of see where they are at and transform that into a potential client down the line. You can strike up conversations and things like that. So this is a really indirect way to go ahead and get them to engage with you. But with the hard call to action here, this is more of a direct call to action, and this is to book a call or DM you for more details on something. It's super crystal clear and exclusive if possible. And so some examples of this are, I'm opening 2 spots for my one-on-one program, teaching you all the steps that it took me to 20K a month. DM private for the details. Or another example is, if you're making content but not getting leads, we should talk. I'll show you what's missing. Book a free strategy call. And then you go ahead and put in your link. And these are direct. You are not necessarily leading them into a conversation where you're going to nurture them. This is already you just giving them direct access to whatever link or whatever information that they want to access here. And when looking at all of this, this is what is generating people tons of money, because you're hitting all the points. You're grabbing their attention, you're educating them, you're showing proof, and then you're giving a call to action at the end. And so people are actually printing money off of this. It doesn't matter if you have like 2K followers, or if you're someone like Iman Gadzhi, who we're about to show the example of, and you are making, 8 figures a year, maybe 9 figures a year, whatever he's making nowadays, right? This allows you to really get people to see your stuff and to engage with you and turn them into potential clients later down the line. And so with that being said, let's take a look at Iman Gadzhi. And so this was from his 5-day live event or live challenge. And basically this was the start of him working with WAP. And this is how he pushed out the offer, combining with WAP, combining it with digital products, kind of like an all-in-one thing, and basically selling his tools to help you create digital products, if that makes sense. So let's take a look here, right? So OpenAI just released, let me change my marker here. All right, so OpenAI just released its latest update, but this isn't just another regular upgrade. This is a silent revolution. And so this hook is really good, right? Because it's intriguing. It's getting people to wonder, okay, what is this dude talking about? Obviously, Iman is a very well-known person in this space. So he kind of has that authority to be like, okay, he knows something that the other people don't know. And if he's sharing something valuable, a lot of people are going to want to listen and tune in into it. And so when he does that, right, he moves on into educating people. Or I guess this next slide here, it's kind of a hook as well. If you're still using AI just as a chat, you're already getting left behind. And this is the part where he educates people. While you're stuck generating a few ideas, others are leveraging AI to create entire products, generate content at massive scale, automate their businesses, and double their revenue. And so when looking at this, he's stating that other people are using AI and they are able to use it as more than just, help for their homework or whatever. They're actually making money off of this. And this is what he's kind of pushing towards when he's educating. And so, obviously he mentioned something like, if you want a behind the scenes look at how I'm using AI to identify hidden untapped markets, create digital products rapidly, even on topics I know nothing about. And he also adds a sense of scarcity here, saying and nobody's waiting for you to catch up. The gap between those who know and those who don't is getting wider by the day. Basically pushing to have people get a sense of FOMO, or the fear of missing out if you don't know. And he mentions that everything that he's talking about is what he's going to be showing at the Make Money Online Challenge. And so this is from the dates here, educating some more, and he basically just tells what's going to happen. I'm hosting a 5-day live challenge showing how to start using AI as a money-making tool instead of a simple chat. And this is just some more education stuff, right? You'll watch as I leverage AI live. If you're serious about staying ahead and want to master this new AI revolution, sign up below. And then this is where he does the hard CTA here. As you can see, sign up right here, and then also save your spot. And these are basically the same links. He's just kind of putting it into two different slides just so that he has more exposure. And also, this is just a big eye opener for people who do not want to be left behind. Iman Gadzhi has been in the space of like info or like online education for a while now. So he really has the power to drive a massive amount of people onto his links. And then a few hours after, he basically had this other push here. And this is basically just adding in the personal transformation or the case study. He uses himself as an example here. And this is still educating. And basically the personal transformation is also the hook here. So if we look at it, right, he mentions that there was a time when I used to watch other people win and think, what do they know that I don't? I wasn't dumb, or I wasn't lazy, I wasn't dumb, I just didn't have the map. And then he mentions that the turning point for me was digital products. You know, going back on that digital products theme on what he's going to push for his event. And one idea packaged the right way changed my entire life. It wasn't overnight, but it gave me leverage, freedom, confidence, and space to breathe. And again, he's using himself here, his own case study or his own transformation, basically saying, I still remember the version of me that couldn't figure it out, the late nights, the overthinking, the frustration. If you're there now, I see you. And that's why I'm doing this 5-day live event, to send the elevator back down. Basically educating people that, you know, you are not alone. You are not alone in thinking that there's more to life than just whatever you're doing. And then he puts the hard call to action here. And basically mentioning 5 days, me showing you how to get started with digital products, AI, same steps. I wish someone gave me no fluff, no hype, just real guidance. And then he has the link here as the free ticket. And then the next story here basically is just building up scarcity again. The live training, whatever, and then the time frame that you have left to go ahead and sign up. And while doing this and touching up on those 5 elements, he was able to get so many people onto this that he was able to generate 8 figures. And if you guys know Iman, you guys know that he generally does not push like super high ticket. He's super famous for like the 997 courses or whatever. And in doing so, just imagine the amount of people that he was able to sell on this. He does have some higher ticket stuff, whether it's like one-on-one meetings. He mentioned that he has a pretty high 5-figure price point as far as that, but you can just tell that he's able to drive so many people in. He has a big audience, and even with a simple story sequence like this, he's able to generate so much money. And so obviously Iman has to have a super tailored story sequence, because a story sequence that works for him probably does not work for someone who is in a different space. Iman is really focusing on the digital products right now, but someone who's maybe doing a trading offer, or maybe drop shipping, or maybe just like a fitness offer, it's all going to be a little bit different as far as the images you put, the actual call to actions that you use, the transformations and all that. And so basically, if you guys are looking for any assistance with this to build a high converting Instagram story sequence, this is actually something that my agency helps with. And so this is all falling under the content optimization portion of our 6-step process here. We basically cover content, market research, offer, funnel and assets, launch, and the sales process of things. And basically me and my business partner, who we can help, are people who already have a large audience which they want to monetize, or people earning over 10K a month who have a good idea for an info business, but no idea how to build an info business. And so basically we can help you with the 6-step process that I just mentioned right here. And basically the dream outcome, if we were to work with each other, is that we would help you scale your coaching business to new heights and beyond, or build your dream network. And obviously that includes high converting story sequences. We've learned directly from Iman Gadzhi and other info business owners, and currently I also am a program success coach for a 7-figure offer, besides running my own agency. So if you guys really want help optimizing your stories, or just want to learn a little bit more about how we can help you guys scale your coaching offer, feel free to go ahead and book a call in the description below. I would love to help you guys and also give you guys a free audit of what you guys can do. Worst case scenario, you guys walk away with 45 minutes of straight sauce on what you guys can do next. And also feel free to DM me on Instagram as well. Would love to help you any way I can. But I hope you guys really enjoyed this video on high converting Instagram story sequences here, going over the 5 elements. And if you guys actually want to go ahead and watch the full breakdown of how Iman made that 8 figures during his live event, I'll go ahead and put the video here so you guys can check it out. And I'll see you guys soon. Bye.